Oh, God, it's too bright out here. What happened to the cloudiness that was here? You'd think I'd want it to be sunny. Oh, this is too much. Hey everybody, it's your Steve, your favorite wandering amateur historian, going out for another, again, I call them therapy walks. You know, the one time I feel pretty fine and pretty normal is when I'm just laying on my ass not doing anything. But that's not going to benefit me, so while I do have to do a lot of sitting and resting in my current state, I need to at least at some part of the day get out, use my body, find some charm out of the day. So get this, I was just like, how much more? Oh my God. At first. Now I'm like, we'll get it figured out, but this isn't even like, this is so far away I probably won't even remember it when it happens, unless I feel, horrible. So, I go have my first appointment with my primary care doctor, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna, I'm not 100% sure what's causing him. He said he didn't think it was a tension headache, like a reoccurring tension headache, but his main reason for saying that was because at the time he asked me if I'd been having neck pain, and to my knowledge I hadn't been, but I've been so tunnel vision, I wouldn't know. And I swear within 2 hours of leaving that appointment, started right through here, through the, the edges of the neck, started feeling strain and soreness that tends to be more commonplace when this is bugging me. I mean, everything else, this is totally identical to a tension headache. It's so, they say that there's dull head pain, which I think is a perfect description of it. It's just this blah right here. They say it's commonly focused on the front of your head, and literally, this has been the focal point of it all. It can last for extensive periods of time. It can be reoccurring for, a month, or, for long periods of time. And I've been dealing with it for, about a month now. They can make it hard to focus, to concentrate, because it's all through here, so you're having to just kind of, squint and try to focus best you can. But anyway, so he's like, since at that time, he was like, I'm not 100% what it is, so, we're going to go through, we're going to do what's recommended. So they scheduled me an MRI. My MRI is Monday, September 9th, so not too far away. As of this recording, it's the 4th. Obviously, this isn't going to get posted today, but so I'm like 5 days away from getting it. But he was also said he was going to schedule me an appointment with a neurologist, and he said them in the same breath. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll, by the end of September, I'll get an MRI and get to see a neurologist. Cool, So I finally get a call back from the neurologist's office, and they tell me, they put me on a cancellation list, so anybody who cancels, I and other people will move up. The earliest they could schedule me, my appointment to see a neurologist, mind you, I got this call yesterday, September 3rd, 2019. The earliest they could schedule me to see the neurologist at this trash heap Adventist Medical Center. It's Adventist. Everyone's told me they're the worst, and it's starting to make more sense to me. My appointment to see the neurologist, the earliest they could get me in, January 28th. Literally next year. If I barged into their office and used the hyperbolic, can somebody help me sometime this year? That wouldn't be an exaggeration, because I can't see a neurologist till next year. It's not even the end of summer yet. So I'm just like, but of course the neurologist isn't the begin all end all of this whole thing. I have the MRI, which will answer a lot of questions, or at least narrow down a lot of things. And then a week after that, I have another appointment with my primary care provider. I at least have a primary care doctor. I at least have health insurance, so I can keep seeing people as I need to. So, things will process forth, but just ridiculous. I guess they have only one neurologist in the whole hospital. And I've talked about that even with people who have had to see neurologists before, and they're like, oh my God, how are you having to wait that long? So that's my current state, but I'm not gonna let it bring me down. Anyway, that said, I don't really know what I'm doing today. Honestly, I'm gonna catch the 15. There's a stop right here, and I'm just gonna get on the bus going west, and I'm trying to keep it to like a 2-hour exploration because I don't want to do too much today. And on top of that, I'm trying to get this all done by just having a 2.5-hour pass, and I have to hit the store, so that's my plan for today. Off the bus. So my plan was, you know, trying to hold myself to just 2.5 hours. Ugh, there's bumblebees all over this bush. I didn't want to spend more than 20 minutes on the bus. I figured 20-minute mark from when I get my pass, I'm gonna pull the string and get off. And that dropped me off at, I think, what's this next street? 38th and Belmont. 15 is considered the Belmont bus, and 15 is the closest bus to where I live, so that's how I got from there to here. I'm probably about like a couple miles, I don't know, 4 miles, 5 miles west of where I live right now. I love walking down Belmont. Ooh, there's a pooch in that bookstore staring at me like he did not trust me. So yeah, so I'm, you know, like my previous therapy walks, there's no real plan. It's just me going out, getting some air, going to unique places. I originally was kind of hoping, I really want to this week, while these are more like unplanned and just kind of just go to a spot and hang out and come home. I don't really need to be rushed. I don't, you know, it's all just about getting out and just taking in. So I really want to visit some spots that I've never been to before and just kind of, you know, meander. But I've worked 3 of the last 4 days. I did one of these my last day off, so I've gone pretty hard in terms of just having to do stuff the last several days. So today I'm just kind of keeping it chill, keeping it down to, you know, 2 hours or so. I love this house here. You can't really tell on the camera, but it's real beat up. There's so many awesome old houses. All 3 are like, look at this one. Yeah, I'm kind of on the fringe of the Buckman neighborhood, which is just lined with all these really great old houses. You know, ooh, somebody left their muffins behind. But yeah, they're over here. They just line the street. This is kind of starting to get infiltrated by developers. You have these really cool ones over here. And I'm coming up to I know where I am. I'm coming up to the Avalon. This old movie theater, transferred into a Wonderland's gaming place. Really old theater in the area. Kind of this main drag on Belmont. Here's the old Avalon. I worked on a film here, or in this neighborhood. And I remember we had our 2 characters kissing up against this sign. Paradox Cafe. And there's this really cool Sunny Mont Apartments. Apply today. And yeah, this actually looks like it does lead up to apartments upstairs. So yeah, this is a real busy area. This is 34th and Belmont. I remember going to Stumptown Coffee over there and having a really horrible interview with someone about being in one of my movies. Well, that's kind of cool. Someone's actually got one of those open. Am I in the right spot? I don't even freaking know anymore. Oh my god, these houses are so amazing. So I'm backtracking a little bit, but mostly just for my own, just for a little side story. How far down did I go? I think I actually have to go one more block over. Yeah, so next street I think I have to turn. Maybe. No, anyway. End of last fall I helped on a film. I literally threw my back at, I was so overworked by that point. I ended up in bed for 3 days with my back all thrown out, but I helped like a 2-day film shoot for this short film that got put into a fair, pretty decent short, like 4-minute film about love gained, love lost. It's called Toast. It's on not YouTube, the other one. I have an account on it. It's that other one. I don't know why I can't remember it right now. Vimeo, God. And we actually filmed, one of our shooting days was right here. So this is like a really cool example of reinvigorating something. This here is an old, like, garage, and it's been converted into apartments. And we actually filmed in one of the apartments around the corner, but if you look at it from the outside, it's all, you know, beat up, but inside, they're actually these, honestly, kind of bougie apartments. Yeah, see? Old garage signage. And so yeah, I thought that was really cool that it's this old garage. You can't really see it because the original building structure, it's like the shell of the building. But there's a big, like, shared courtyard space in the middle where we filmed this big, exotic dance number. We literally, it was already raining, but we had a sprinkler turned on to just spray water, or, you know, sprinkle water down like it was raining. Had a big spotlight set up. I was videoing while they were videoing. I was the sound guy on the project. And it was great because it's a shared area, so like everybody's like back patio faces it. And everybody who was there, it was like movie night. It was like a show would come to town. And everybody was like standing at on their back patios just watching us set up and then filming it. And just being like in awe. It was pretty cool. Yeah, we filmed it right back there. Oh, this cool chill wind is feeling so good. Right in my face. So I don't know how far west I'm gonna meander. I'm facing the same kind of ordeal that I was facing the last therapy walk video I did, which was I need to culminate this day with a store run. Well, this is kind of interesting. It's one of these like big pathways with a bunch of apartments facing each other. These are definitely new. Some of the newest, probably some of the newest properties around here. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of new properties peppered in. But anyway, I need to go do a store run because I'm down to minuscule scraps of food at this point. And so I have to fit that in to my trip. And being kind of spoiled, I don't want to have to... Oh man, I was wondering... never mind. I thought it was in this area. Yeah, I don't want to have to go to Target. I'm so tired of going to Target. Target's the only real store within a logical walking distance for me from where I live. I'm so sick of having to go to Target because their food selection is squat. Like literally, like maybe an eighth to a tenth of the store is food. It's just crammed in the back. And their selection is garbage, and I'm trying to be, you know, a lot more particular about what I eat these days, improving my health and just hoping my head will catch up. So I gotta fit that in. That's why I actually brought my bag today, because I was thinking, you know, if I end up running, you know, the better part of this 2.5 hours out, which I probably will, I'm probably gonna end up going to Fred Meyer. I don't know if I have enough time, because I'm thinking like it'd be great if I could make it up to the Green Line. Green Line could take me to Gateway. If you're not from the Portland area, this terminology means nothing to you, but like maybe I can make it to the Green Line, which is way up there, and then I have the option of Fred Meyer or even Winco on the other side. I bet Winco doesn't like people bringing their bags in, but I brought this bag in before. Winco. Oh God, Winco. One of the most fun times of the brief time that I was rooming with my friends was when we'd gather into the big van and we go to Winco to presumably buy like a month's worth of food, and then we would just split the cost three ways, and we would try to predict when we got in line like how much money we'd spent. I think the last time we did it I won, I think. Alright, so I'm coming back up to Morrison. I just kind of circled the block. Yeah, God, oh man. I'm noticing, I hope this means they're fixing this house up. I'm noticing this house has been fenced off. It's a beautiful old house. It's actually, I mean, color-wise, it's actually in fantastic condition. So I hope it's just, God, I hope they're not going to demolish this. I wouldn't put it past, you know, someone. Oh, this is definitely new. This is definitely an addition over time. You can tell this is not part of the original house. Yeah, I hope that just means they're fixing it up. It looks like it's in really good condition. Man, please tell me that seat is empty. I think I can already tell it is. I thought that was a person just kind of sitting on the curb. But no, that's a baby seat with no baby, right? Yeah, no baby. That would have really put a damper on the day. This is a rarity. Altar Court, actually a road that goes diagonal to the rest. Those are very rare unless you're in certain neighborhoods. I love this area. This area is so great. And then Morrison ends for a brief moment. There's these really cool apartments in here. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to meander back towards Belmont. I'm kind of just trying to linger north of Belmont, which currently I'm walking south, so I don't want to keep, you know, going this way too much. Look at this place. This place is this the Belvedere? I'm amazed how many of these apartments I remember from like one look. This might be the Belvedere. And this building over here might just be vacant. Or at least part of it. See, I'm at 29th and Belmont. I'm pretty sure this is the Belvedere. Oh, that sucks. Yes. I was accurate. These are the Belvedere apartments. Look at that. That little walkthrough. Beautiful. And yeah, you see there's still just a lot of these big well, actually I think this is a new house, but there's a lot of big apartment house type buildings that look kind of like this. They're just huge houses that are really like, you know, broken into like 2 units, 4 units, some assemblage of units. And then there's this place that's been vacant forever. This is another building I love. It's all beat to hell, but it's called Luke's Frame Shop. Every time I see that, I just automatically think of Gilmore Girls. If you've seen, you'll know what I mean when I'm talking about Luke. I just think about that. I think Luke, has the cafe now. He's got a frame store. And on that note, actually, again, if you're Gilmore Girls fans, which I am, I learned to appreciate after I finally saw it by the time I was like 30 years old. Right where I got off at 38th, I don't know if it would have shown up at my shop, but at about 38th, I think that's where it was, 38th and Belmont, there's a coffee shop there. You might have seen it like over my shoulder a little bit, like when I first got off the bus, but they like transformed that into like Luke's Diner and put like the Luke sign out front. Me and my girlfriend were gonna go there just to, you know, take it in, have the experience of getting some coffee there. And we drove by, and there was no chance. There was so many people there, a line, like literally around the block. Actually, wait a minute. I just realized there's a dark piece of history, because there's the Lone Fir. Yeah, that's the Lone Fir Cemetery back there. So actually, 27th and Morrison, I know I'm in the right area. I did a video about this but never visited the location. It's not really affecting my ability to think or to do this, but this is just one of those days where this has just been here since the moment I woke up. Usually when I wake up, life gives me about 15-20 minutes before this starts kicking in, but I guess it kicked in before I even got out of bed. Now, I was trying to think, again, I'm having to estimate. I did this video like a year ago. So I may have to search a bit. But there was a kind of famous murder, only recently solved. Free shoes. The apartments look like these ones. These kind of yellowy ones with the brick. I swear it was 27th, and it was over this way. Now again, I don't think I'm getting this wrong, but if I do, I'm still within a block of where this happened. Because yeah, I think it's these apartments that are ahead of me and to the left. These, yeah, I remember now, yeah. Because no, I thought it was those ones when I was first researching, and then I had to kind of center the address in to actually figure it out. Yeah, no, this is the right spot. I remember because Lone Fir's right there. I remember it's really close. So anyway, ooh, and they're now renting. Looks like they're called 27th East now. But this apartment complex, back in the 1980s, again, I did an in-depth video about this, so you'll get a lot more from that than this, but I didn't actually come to the site. But back in the 1980s, a woman named Renee Harvey lived in this apartment complex. She had a thirst to be a theater performer, actress, a starlet. She had a bright smile. She had the thick curly brown hair that was so such a staple of the 80s. And I want to say she lived in Montana or something, and someone saw her perform and coaxed her into moving to Portland. And by the late 80s, she ultimately lived in this apartment complex. And she claimed that, some neighbors of hers were really sketchy. She apparently, her next door neighbors, or I can't remember if they were next door to her or directly above her, they were like petty thieves, and she actually saw them one day. I think it was like electrical equipment, like VCR or something like that. She saw them, these guys, like, being suspicious with his electrical equipment, and when they saw her, like, one of the guys split. It was all very suspicious. So she kind of saw them in the act, and they were apparently harassing her, and she finally decided she had enough and she was going to move out. She'd actually already found a new place. She had moved a lot of her stuff out already. She was literally like 2 days away from being gone from this place forever. And she went home. She didn't show up for a rehearsal. She was actually starting to make waves in the kind of theater acting community here in Portland. And she never showed up for rehearsal. And her friend went to her, apartment that she was almost out of here, and found her brutally murdered. And it was a cold case for like at least 25 years, almost. It was only solved like a couple years ago, where they found out that it was one of these next door neighbors who was kind of a petty thief that she'd seen, them kind of moving hot goods. And so yeah, it took a couple decades, but they finally busted the guy and found out who murdered Renee Harvey, who again lived in the apartments up over there. And that being said, I'm talking about death. Here's the Lone Fir Cemetery. I actually have video footage from the winter where I walked this cemetery in the snow, and I want to recut it together again. I want to make that into a video again. I'll get around to it, maybe. It's from a couple years ago, but again, it looked the same as it does here. Just there was snow everywhere, which a snow-covered cemetery is beautiful. And check out more of the stuff. I'll do a walkthrough. I'm right here. Might as well do a walkthrough. This is one of Portland's oldest cemeteries. a lot of the people that I discussed in my Historic Murders of Portland series are buried here. I can't remember exactly which ones or where exactly they were buried, so I can't bring you to their grave sites. But I know towards the, way down here, towards the south, it'd be the southwest edge, there's kind of an open field space, and that's where a lot of people of Chinese ancestry, Chinese immigrants in the area, were buried. And a few years back they wanted, this may still be in the works, they want to make it, they want to do something with the land because it's kind of just this open space. I think they want to make it into like a memorial garden for those people. And maybe they've done more, but I remember looking into it while I did that video here. And a couple years ago they were like, they want to go through with this, but they're not sure if they can, because they weren't even sure if they'd actually gotten all of the all those Chinese immigrants that they buried there. They weren't even 100% certain they'd gotten all the bodies out of there yet. So I don't know how that's progressing. All I know is it's bugging me to, you know, it's getting to a point where I have like, you know, 2, 3, 4 days where it's not really bugging me too much. And in all fairness, this was bugging me before I got up, and now I'm exerting myself, so of course it's gonna linger. I'm still able to talk though, you know, for more than just a couple minutes. But yeah, this is there's like a building over here that was damaged by fallen trees, I think a couple years ago when I came here, and I can see that it still looks like the roof is caved in. And here's this building that I was mentioning that, yeah, it's definitely still, it looks like it hasn't been repaired. It's such a cool building. It's got that very, you know, it's like knights go in there. It has a massive, I guess it's, I don't know if it's a crypt exactly or what. I always make sure to take a look at it. You can see it goes way up. It's almost its own little, it's very cathedral looking. And it's fenced off, probably for good reason. Yeah, I always love checking this out as I go by. This almost looks like it. I don't know. I could just be confusing it. I noticed there's actually signs that say do not enter falling objects. That's troubling. I mean, I'm guessing that means that just, this is maybe so old that just pieces are falling off of it. But yeah, like you can see there was like a face there, but like the front half is falling off, but you can see them on the back side. Like there's one right there. And I can't remember if it's like McClay maybe. All that's left of the name is ACL. I wonder if it's McClay, like Lower McClay Park. And then it says like Kirk or Kerr. It's probably Kerr. See how cool that is? So I'm wondering, because that's a pretty impressive structure in this area that's mostly just graves. It says Kerr on the door. I can only assume that is in reference to Peter Kerr, who I don't really know a whole lot about, but I know he's an influential guy, definitely had money, he owned a lot of property all over the place. Elk Rock Island, there's like a plaque to Peter Kerr, because I think maybe he owned that land. I can't remember exactly what the plaque said, but I know he owned land like northern Lake Oswego. He owned a lot of land. That's all I really know about the guy. But that's the only prominent Kerr that I know of, K-E-R-R. And it makes sense for someone that, you know, was a fairly influential guy, that, you know, it would make sense that he would have something that impressive. Even though whatever the name is that most of it's broken off of above the door is a different name. I've always just assumed McClay, like McClay Park, but I don't know. It's like ACL. So, Fackle, I don't know. There's 2 more things I want to see before I go. Obviously, again, you know, at some point I'll get that old video I took up. And yeah, way over here, there's a big, all through here, this area is open field. That's where the Chinese immigrants lived, that they're hoping to turn into, again, like a memorial garden for them. It's right off that way. Oh, they put a fence around it. Good. Not that I'm too worried about people vandalizing it, but this thing is needed a lot of attention, and it still clearly has not gotten as much as it should. And here's the like firefighter section. But yeah, this has been falling apart. For the first time I ever came here in like maybe early 2016, I remember the roof falling. But there wasn't really, there might have been a fence around it, but it wasn't this impressive. I don't even think there was. I think I was able to walk right up to this. Oh, there's some graves right behind the fence. Butler tomb. Yes, they are trying to... blazers, trailblazers of the beer industry. So these were, let me sure I don't step on any. So these were brewery guys. Yeah, see, this is where it's at its worst. It's right back here. Like, you can literally look up and see, like, the inside. But they say efforts are underway to restore it. So that's a positive. The daylight's scared out of you. Where is it? Oh, here it is. This still haunts my nightmares. I think these are the people that donated the land. But these faces, I don't know. Yeah, you know, I'm cool with him, but I'm assuming they're husband and wife. The husband looks like an okay fellow, but the wife looks like she probably killed a lot of the people that are buried here. There's actually a line of coins here. I wonder if the denominations have any prevalence, or the way they're organized have any prevalence, or if some people have just been laying in here. This is, and I was wondering if maybe this was their actual gravestone, because it's right next to them. Like these, there's probably bodies buried under here. But yeah, I always love stopping and taking a look at the horrendously, oh yeah, okay, it is for them. So, Elizabeth and James Stevens, just like me. Died 1889, died 1887. Here we lie by consent after 57 years, 2 months and 2 days, journeying through life, awaiting nature's immutable laws to return us back to the elements of the universe of which we were first composed. So he was born in Virginia, and she was born in Flemingsburg, Kentucky. 1806, hey, he was born, his birthday is the day after mine, November 19th. Now, I'm really hoping, I swear there's at least one exit on this side, but I'm not seeing it down there. I'm not really seeing it. I don't want to have to walk all the way over there to just wrap around, because I want to start going like this way. I think the fence just moves back. I could always hop the fence. That wouldn't be disrespectful at all. I think I'm just going to have to go the long way. I always thought there was at least one exit here. I don't know. This is a pretty... They keep you enclosed. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to go back this way, because I realize there's some stuff I can pass by. Some repetitive. You know, I'm visiting some things I've visited before, but, you know, the amateur historian's had a rough 4 weeks. I can't be perfect all the time. Now I'm starting to, you know, right when I was going to just kind of give it a pass by, now I'm right by this field. There's a little bit of history posted here, but obviously they're still probably a little ways off from actually getting this project started. Block 14 at the Lone Fir Cemetery. Oh, First Oregon Hospital. Located between Southeast 9th and 12th. And Belmont and Hawthorne. Wow, that was a big complex, because Belmont and Hawthorne are like 6 blocks apart. It's like a 6 block by 3 block stretch. But yeah, here's the prominence of this particular spot, Block 14, which is what this one is. Oregon's early Chinese laborers and merchants. Thousands of people traveled by ship from southern China to the United States in the mid to late 1800s. Many performed the most arduous tasks of building the Pacific Northwest's infrastructure and economy, and were underpaid for their work. Yeah, damn right they were. Over 1,000 of these Chinese laborers and later Chinese families were buried here at Block 14, the historic Chinese section of Lone Fir. So this is pretty much all Block 14. 1,000 people, some 1,000 people buried in just this little area, which kind of suggests to me, you know, again, you know, obviously anybody who wasn't white. I mean, look where we're at in 2019 in terms of racism. You know, if you weren't white, which, you know, Portland has always been mostly white, you know, they were probably literally, you know, they dig a little something here, and, you know, if they had several bodies to get rid of, they probably threw a lot of them just into one hole and just buried them kind of one on top of each other. I don't know if historically that's what happened. I'm just saying, based on, you know, history, especially Portland history, their treatment of, you know, particularly Chinese immigrants in the area was not great. They solely blamed Chinese for the fires. Two big fires that happened in the early 1870s that almost destroyed the whole city were all pretty much entirely blamed on Chinese workers in the area, even though in the end people are pretty certain that those fires were started by white people looking to create a bad reputation for the Chinese, and, you know, give the white people a reason to go after them, which happened. You know, it always does. I thought I could exit this way, and I can't. But yeah, as I was saying, a lot of Chinese immigrants living in the area were, you know, for a long time after those fires, were, you know, brutalized and harassed and so forth. You know, you think about 9/11 and our treatment of people from the Middle East after that. That was in 2001, 2002, you know, early 2000s. Why? What makes anybody think we'd be treating immigrants who we hold accountable for a certain event that happened, even though, again, you know, I don't think it was their fault. I think it was more planted on them. You know, why would, especially Portland at that time, these were just rugged frontiersmen. These were people that went out and worked like dogs and then drank themselves to death. I mean, what makes anybody think back in the 1870s of Portland that immigrants were going to be treated any better than they have been in the last 20 years? Thank you, Lone Fir. It was a pleasure making your acquaintance again. So I guess I wonder, okay, so 3:47 p.m. is when my pass expires. It is, oh jeez, it's 2:22 now. I have 85 minutes till my pass expires. So this is, I might be able to pull this off. My objective is to go a little bit further down and then start beelining north and hopefully catching the green line. Odds are I won't be able to hit up stores in Gateway and still have time left on my pass. If I was still, I mean, I came prepared. I brought an extra $2.50 in case I need to get another pass, but the whole thrill, the whole excitement of the adventure is to see how much I can get done within the process of getting a 2-hour pass. It's almost a critique on TriMet, how it's ridiculous that a day pass is $5. A pass that works for 24 hours roughly is $5, but then $2.50, half that much, only gets you 2.5 hours. It should at least get you like 5 hours. I mean, come on. I know you're trying to make money, but come on. So here's the view of Block 14. This is where I came to before everybody had to turn around, but there's a plaque here dedicated to the memory of David S. Stearns, patriot, citizen friend who donated this entrance. So was this like the original entrance? Because you've got this here, obviously there's a fence here. I wonder if this is like the original entrance. This building, see how this building used to not be here. This may have been the main entrance to the place, I don't know. But anyway, onward we go. I've walked Belmont and Morrison back there so many times. I want to go like 1 block north, because I think this is Alder. I just want to get a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of a fresh view of, you know, a lot of what's probably oh, look at all the colors. Oh my god, I love it. Okay, I gotta wait for these cars past. Okay. But yeah, look at this color. These, I mean, these look faded compared to that yellow back there, but I love the colors that some of these old houses have been painted. And yeah, this is venturing down Alder, seeing if I can make this time work. Okay. There was a woman that I'm like 60% certain was probably homeless, and I hate vlogging, especially when it's like between me and the homeless person. It's just me and them, because they get real paranoid when you even if you're just like, I'm just filming, videoing myself, they will hassle the hell out of you. So I was like, I'm gonna hide the camera briefly, because I don't want that person to start following me or start yelling at me. It's happened a few times. It's obnoxious. It's not worth the problem. This house is gorgeous. Oh man, you can tell this house is really old. Guarantee you this house is pre-1890 for Portland. Yeah, look at this beauty over here. It's just lined with them. Oh yeah, I think even this is an older one too. I don't want to backtrack briefly. I don't know if I have the time. Yeah, just look at these massive like apartment houses. You can tell they're apartment houses because there's 2 different entrances, and then there's 2 basement entrances. Crazy. But I'm close to another place that I think it's just right. Oh yeah, it's right through the trees, right around the corner. All right, there's people on the porch. I feel weird, but anyway. Yeah, I always feel awkward. I mean, I don't want to film a house and there's people on the porch. They may own it now, but you can see a little bit of it back there. Blue house. I did a video on that one. I think it was called like Disney versus Looney Tunes. That blue house back there, that people were sitting on the porch, so I didn't want to just walk up to them and be like, hey, can I video you? That's my severe introverted nature coming out. People are going to be like, just go ask them. They should know it's a historical house. Nah, I'm good. Oh my god. I'll get back to that in a second. Look at these. Look at this place. McLeod Manor. Oh my god. Look at this. It's insane. I love this area. But as I was saying, that blue house back there that I made the conscientious decision to not walk up to is for a couple years during the 1930s. Walt Disney's, it's been erroneously said that Walt Disney lived there. He didn't actually live there. His parents did, though. They actually lived in that house for a year and a half, 2 years. It wasn't very long. And I don't know how they ultimately ended up in southeast Portland, because they were a Midwest family. I remember his dad was settled in Kansas City for a long time, so I don't know. Maybe Portland worked better for him, but he ultimately ended up somehow on around like 16th and Morrison Street in southeast Portland. I don't know how it happened, but you know, people just end up where they end up. When you're in a city this big, inevitably famous to semi-famous, or people associated with famous people, are going to end up popping up here and there. So I'm approaching. I gotta be careful. This is constantly just lined with homeless people. This is George Washington High School. I don't know if I've done I don't know if I've done a video here. I've taken pictures of it, I've taken some video of it, but I don't know if I've done an actual video of it. But yeah, this is one of multiple high schools that actually closed down during a more tumultuous time of Portland public schools. And I know, like, I think New Seasons uses this as an office, or like for office space. There's a lot of, like, I think there's a theater that still gets used for various things, or an auditorium, but yeah. This was George Washington High School, which closed in early 80s, I want to say 1981. And it was this time period where the school district knew it had to close some schools. They actually considered, I think as the story goes, I know they actually at one point wanted to close Cleveland High School. The problem was, as I understand it, there was a lot of stipulations. Like, the land was given to the city with the understanding that it would be used for a school and nothing else. So it was like, well, if we close the school down, what are we going to do with that? You could at least close these other high schools and use the property for something else. So that didn't happen. They've always, since like the 60s, they've been trying to close Jefferson High School, and they've never fully successfully done it. But they ended up closing George Washington. It was called Washington Monroe because there was a Monroe High School that was, I believe, an all-girls school that had closed a couple years, like I think in '78, and they merged the two together. So this was actually called like Washington Monroe High School for the last couple years of its existence as such. I can't see if I'm safe. Nope, I'm not safe. But in addition to this school, there so Washington Monroe got shut down, and also James Madison High School was shut down, I believe also around that same time. Or John Adams, did I say James Madison? Madison High School is still open, I know, because they're using Marshall High School next to where I live. Hey, how you doing? I can't get across the street because I can't freaking see around this huge ass RV, but I'm trying to get the story out. Going for it. Nah, I'm good. John Adams High School, geez. It's all those early presidents. So pretty much the two high schools that were named after the first two presidents we ever had, George Washington High School and John Adams High School, were closed. John Adams High School was only open for like 12 years. It became a middle school later, but it's actually the building that was used. I'm going to be doing a video about this at some point, but it was the school used for the Gus Van Sant film Elephant in 2003. The school that they used was the John Adams High School that got closed down same time as this high school did. And it had actually become a middle school, and in like the summer before Elephant was ready to kind of start shooting, it they ended up having, there was all these problems that were happening, and like students were getting sick. They found out there was all these toxins and stuff, and people were pissed. Parents were refusing to send their kids there. They realized it was going to cost millions of dollars to fix the problems, and so they ultimately decided to close. It was Whitaker Middle School. They closed that school down, and then the school was vacant, so Gus Van Sant was able to use that in Elephant. And then it was ultimately torn down a few years after that. There was black mold and God knows what else in there. It was just a death trap. And it was eventually demoed, and now there's still just kind of an open field there where the school used to be. But I'll be doing a video talking about that a lot more in the future. But yeah, thought I'd give George Washington High School a little pass by, a little. Oh my God, it smells like pure crap. Holy Lord. I'm sorry, that hit me out of nowhere. Oh yeah, this is actually this is a prominent church that I guess is in some turmoil. St. Francis of Assisi Church. I remember passing it a few years ago, and there was like a sign that said like, you know, this is a sanctuary, and it was a very progressive church. But I guess I read an article recently that said that has kind of shifted. I guess they have a new guy running things here, and it's kind of changing and becoming a little bit more traditional, which makes it, I guess, a little less helpful, and there's been a lot of turmoil and whatnot between people who want it to stay that way and people who want it to be a lot more traditional. And I can say, as a guy who went to church for many years and still identifies as a Catholic, there's plenty of elements of traditional Catholic norms, Christian norms, that need to go. It's important to understand. And if you think I'm being sacrilegious, if you think I'm full of crap, that's fine, okay? Oh yeah, this bar over here. I went here with my girlfriend a couple months ago, and then we saw someone we knew that we really didn't want to bump into. So we literally sat down, we both made eye contact with them, and we were just like, let's get out of here. What a random whatnot. Anyway, there's another building in this area that's really prominent. I read something about it recently, but I don't remember what made it prominent, so I guess I'm not going to waste my time going over there. But again, look, I'm just going to say this is my perspective. In terms of traditional, you have to remember that, you know, regardless who may have seen God personally, seen Jesus personally, experienced Jesus personally, and then, you know, the Bible came as a result of that, it's important to realize that, in my opinion, there are things in the Bible that I think the people of the time interjected. Like if God says, don't engage in anything evil. Well, that's a very loaded term. What qualifies as evil? And when you bring that to the people are going to respond to that in terms of, you know, how they identify as what's evil. So, you know, any number of things can be deemed as evil by that survivor, and then they can write that down. They can say, well, people aren't allowed to do anything evil. Well, that counts as this, and then they can write that down, and that can be stipulated, and that becomes traditional, you know? People say that, for example, homosexuality in and of itself is a sin, you know, in the Christian faith, because the Bible says so. I've seen all the passages that talk about homosexuality. The word homosexuality is not used. I don't even know if that was regarded as an actual term back then. I mean, it wasn't, as far as I know. But there's nothing in the Bible that says being gay is a sin.
Wait.
In fact, alright. In fact, most of what it says about same-sex anything, it pretty much says don't have sex with same-sex people. I know there's the prominent verse that says men don't lie with another man in the way that you would lay with a woman.
Wait.
So, you know, so maybe that's no gay sex, no marriage, you know, don't sleep with a man the way you would with your wife, so on and so forth. But I've never found any verse that specifically says you cannot be attracted to someone of the same sex. You can't be in love with someone of the same sex as you in the Bible. And I've seen every verse that people have put forward saying that, well, this is proof that homosexuality is wrong. So again, it's so much of it is open to manipulation, not just manipulation now, but manipulation of Jesus's time, you know? So, again, not trying to be a dick, but there's a lot of things that are tradition, that are traditional because they have a substance that permeates any time period, any person, so on and so forth. But there's other things that are just kind of there more because they were like created. You know, the whole, like, you know, being gay, they say, you know, being gay is a sin. Well, it doesn't say in the even if it might, you know, even if you took it to infer that, it doesn't actually say that. You can't definitively say that. But yet how many people are out with their signs saying being gay is a sin, God hates gay people, being gay is sinful? Based on what? Well, being based on what you've been taught, based on, you know, unending perspectives that, you know, haven't changed over time and don't necessarily have the substance that some people might think there. It's easy to convince yourself that anything is cool, anything is true, especially if you really want to believe it. If you were taught growing up by your super religious family that homosexuality is wrong, you know, the moment you start questioning that, you want to stop questioning it because you want to believe that because you were taught that. Maybe your parents taught that and you don't want to get mad at your parents for misleading you. I don't know, I'm rambling. I just, you know, when I see a church that's being helpful to immigrants in a time that they need it, people who need sanctuary when they really need it, and then a church kind of starts flipping and going back to what is deemed more traditional stuff, and they're stopping doing that, well, that's not right. That's not beneficial. That's not remotely what Catholicism, Christianity is supposed to be about. You're supposed to love and respect and care about everyone. You're not supposed to pass judgment on everyone. But that happens ceaselessly in the church. I thought I smelled bread. It's Fran's. Oh man, I'm getting sweaty. Am I on? Okay, I'm on 12. Okay, actually, I think I'm in a good spot. What are these guys? What are these some bitches cracking up about? Okay, I actually think I'm making good time. So I'm just gonna beeline it north, try to catch the green line, and maybe I'll be able to get in and out of the store by 3:47. Not holding my breath. Ugh. These doors are starting to spasm. I think someone's messing with me. Anyway, I just checked the time, and I've got an hour and 2 minutes before my pass expires. It's really gonna do. Well, here's the benefit. I don't have to catch the green line. The blue, the red, and the green all pick people up here, and they all go at least to Gateway. So whichever Max gets here first. What I'm getting at is if I can get to a stop in maybe the next 8 minutes, I'm not gonna have to wait very long for a Max because I can take any of the 3 coming through. Odds are, worst case scenario, I'm waiting 4 to 5 minutes. And from here to Gateway, it's about 15 minutes. I mean, that gives me a window of maybe 30 minutes to hit the store and then maybe still be able to catch transportation going home. I think it's still gonna be close. So I'm passing Benson High School. It's on 12th around Gleason. I had no idea. I had absolutely, I knew it was in this vicinity, but this is one of those high schools that I never knew exactly where it was. I knew it existed, I just didn't know exactly where it was located. But this is Benson Polytech, another high school in the Portland area. I don't know when the last time was their school was fixed up, but I mean they're using the old Marshall High School while they fix up every other school, so I'm wondering if maybe Benson's going to be up on the list. We're pretty far, especially kids going to high school, we're pretty far from Marshall High School where I work. That's what sucks about this whole thing is these kids. Franklin wasn't so bad. Franklin High School is not super duper far away from Marshall. It's in the same section of Portland. It's not that bad. But then Grant, kids living up over here, had to go way down south to go to Marshall. And the Madison kids are, you know, maybe a little bit closer, but it's still, you know, a few miles to go. So I'm just, man, what used to be here? I don't know. This whole property is like fenced off. You got an old sign with some tagging on it. I'm already crossing the freeway. Wow. I was not expecting to make it here this quickly. But yeah, there's a little bit of, I don't know what this used to be. I don't know. Maybe you know. If you do, tell me. All right, I'm actually really close. Really close. Okay. I just gotta, I think I'm gonna go right around here. Yes. Max's. Oh yeah. Lloyd one's right over here. I just saw a train leave, which means there should be one here hopefully in the next like 2 or 3 minutes. Hallelujah. I might actually get lucky on this. And you know, for my head bothering me more than it's been the last few days, I was still able to forge through this without too much resistance. making good time. I'm off the max. I'm heading towards Fred Meyer. I've got 40 minutes. Oh God. Gateway Fred Meyer's a proverbial shit show. Like people screaming in the parking lot. Having a hard time making up my mind. I need to hurry up. I'm gonna screw myself over. Ooh. I feel like I was in there forever. I still got like 25 minutes before my pass runs out. So I just saw a bus go by, and I hope it was the 15. Like 4 or 5 buses went through here, but the 15 runs uber frequent. Which I guess doesn't make it horrible if that was the one. But yeah, literally the one area I wanted to go to, couldn't go in. They blocked it off because they had like a water line break. So literally the one area I wanted to get some frickin' food, couldn't do it, you know. But whatever, I made it out alive. And pretty standard. I have 9 minutes, so I'm just gonna go back. I was gonna be at the stop back there, but there's of course a woman sitting there cursing randomly, making threats to God knows who or what. She didn't really start doing it till I passed her by, and I was like, I'm not dealing with that crap. You know? Who knows if she's gonna start just following me and bugging me. So I'm just walking back to the max stop. I got 9 minutes. If I can make it. Oh my God, these people suck. Nobody will stop and just let me cross a street at all, anywhere, ever. Anyway, so yeah, that's my situation. I'm sticking to it if I don't get hit by somebody. Yeah, but the 15's like 7-8 minutes from departing the max, and I got like 20 something minutes, so it should be okay. Success! Alright, gang, I made it. Y'all got your 3 a.m. challenges, your 24-hour challenges. I just did the 2.5-hour challenge. Not remotely as dramatic as some of those others, but it was a challenge and I lived up to it. And I'm turning down my main street here. I zigzag, my house is right over there. And actually, I don't know how well you're gonna see this with the sun. Hold on. Can't see it that well. I don't know if you can see it at all. Can you see it? Anyway. Maybe a little better in the shade. Why? Why? Go away. You're ruining everything. Okay. It is 3:44. So not only did I successfully manage to go out and have a pretty good exploration, a wander around, fitting into that 2.5-hour time frame, which included travel and going to the store, I'm actually going to make it. I'm not just catching a bus in the allotted time. I'm actually going to make it home practically right at the 2.5 hour mark. So it's another success right there. Anyway, thank you so much for coming along on my exploration. Again, I don't really know where these are going to go. Some of them maybe aren't going to be that exciting. Some of them might be a lot more just me blathering about stuff. This one was a lot more exciting, I feel, than the last one I did, because the last one I was just talking a lot more about myself and my future. If I realized I was going to have to wait 4.5 months to see a neurologist, whatever, that's just one thing. This one, even though there was a few repeats of places I've been to before, I feel like I was able to take in a lot during that brief time frame. So again, thank you so much for watching. These are just, you know, helping me get through each day without feeling like a lump. And remember, as always, like, share, subscribe, hit up my Patreon if you want to. Pity me with cash. And I'm so glad I'm home. Sweaty, my head's tired. But Steve the Amateur Historian. See you next time. Oh my goodness, that hurts. Officially indoors. Officially indoors. Thought I was done. Not quite. Look at that. 3:46. Made it. Whole trek from getting on the max, or getting on the first bus of the day, buying my pass and getting home. Had 2.5 hours to do it. Got home in 2 hours and 29 minutes. Suck on that. Now I'm gonna suck down this whole bottle of multivitamins. You know why? Because I feel like it. No, I'm kidding. I just take my 2.